Depression. Depression. Now, this has always been on the forefront even before the thought of suicide or suicidal ideations come in. And we have quite a number of people who are actually depressed right now. What do we do? Today, I'm going to be talking about depression. Stay tuned. Alright, beautiful people, you're welcome to another episode of Nursing with Abby, and today I'm going to be talking about depression. Yes, it's a mental health disorder, and we actually need to talk about it. Mental health is not only for those who are chained inside the gates of a psychiatric hospital. Quite a number of people are going through mental health issues, and I need to talk about one of them, which is depression today. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Nursing with Abby. My name is Nurse Abiodun. I'm a nurse, I'm a midwife, I'm a public health advocate, and I love what I do. On this channel, my YouTube page, and my Facebook page, I talk about nursing, I talk about lifestyle, and I talk about everything in between. I'm a nurse licensed to practice both in Nigeria and in the United Arab Emirates. And I really want to talk about this depression because it's like a burden on my heart. Seeing a lot of news coming up from people who took their life maybe by use of some chemicals, by jumping into the lagoon and all that, and you would see signs of depression from the history you get from maybe their friends or their relatives. They will tell you they've been depressed for a while, maybe because of what they do not have or what they do not own or what they're aspiring to achieve and then come through, and the depression just sinks them in so much so that they take their own lives. Now, depression is just simply a case of extreme sadness, which plunges one into depths of loneliness, hopelessness, and despair. Definitely, there are issues that will make one sad. But when the sadness overwhelms such a person in such a way that the person just sinks deeper into loneliness, into despair, and into hopelessness. Now, the thoughts of ending it all comes in, and then after a while, without help or snapping out of it, the person might go into suicide. Now, picture this. Being in a very large hall with a dark large hall with no sort of light or life, and you try to speak and you don't hear your voice. All you hear are voices telling you to end it all, voices that are telling you into taking your own life. Now, that is already suicidal tendencies coming up, and it's important that such person comes out to speak about what he or she is feeling and why he or she is feeling that way, so that help can be derived. Now, who can get depressed? Sincerely, anyone can get depressed. Rich, poor, strong, weak, boy, girl, man, woman, anyone can get depressed. So it doesn't even have anything to do with your financial capabilities or your status in the society. We've seen rich people who kill themselves. We've seen the poor who hang themselves. We've seen the young, even as young as teenagers, who do that. So it's really not about the age or the financial status. Anyone can be depressed. Now, what are the signs and symptoms that you can see and say, okay, probably this person is depressed? Now, there's what we call lack of interest in things that actually interest you. They don't want to go to work. They feel disconnected. They feel withdrawn. There's lack of concentration in maybe work or school things. There's also constant sadness and sorrow. Now, they're always constantly sad and sorrowful. They're always lost in thoughts, and they do not keep themselves abreast of what is happening in the environment. Nothing interests them. A regular, maybe young teenager who is a boy should be interested in maybe football or gymnastics or athletics, but nothing seems to interest such a person. Some of them might just keep gazing into the sky or into the air for hours with nothing. They're not really thinking about anything, just gazing. Then you could also have aggressiveness. Some people just want to be by themselves, just want to be lonely, and they start scribbling things, and you could see some people might even decide to give away their possessions, their prized possessions. Yeah, we've seen cases like that. Now, what exactly can we do? Solutions. Now, for me, I believe that the only person that can save someone out of depression is actually such a person. And until you decide to snap out of it and say, hey, death is not the answer, I need to find a solution to my problem. Now, a lot of people are depressed with a lot of people, and they have people around them. Being lonely even in the midst of many. Now, so it's important for that particular person to say, no, depression would weigh me down. I need to get snap out of this. And I do not blame people who go to parties, go for events, social events, and they mix and mingle with a lot of people, because at that moment they tend to find people to speak with, vent to. Some people even go to counselors and psychologists or psychiatrists. That's also good, because The more you vent about what you're feeling, I think the lesser you become, and then you get solutions to problems that are weighing your heart or your mind down. And the other thing is determine that depressive state is not your place and seek help to snap out of it. Also, we all need to develop an emotional capability for what the issues life throws at us. Definitely, life is not a bed of roses, and life keeps throwing such lemons into our lives, and it's important for us to develop an emotional capacity to be able to deal with situations like that, even from the young age. Don't train your children as if everything will go all rosy and beautiful all the way, because it definitely would not. There will always be clogs in the wheel, there will always be issues, there will always be problems. How do you teach those children to expect such and how to deal with them? It's important for you to understand and know that issues will definitely happen. Some issues you might not even be able to to sort out, but you have to learn to deal with them. You have to learn to be strong through them. You have to learn to be courageous through them. And let's start teaching our children also that emotional capability to deal with them. All right. It's important for us to realize that life is not a bed of roses and nobody has it all. Yes, nobody has it all. Now, a young person who is poor might be envying the rich, but the rich might also be envying her for having a suitable and a stable and beautiful marriage. So not everything is like it seems. Okay, you might be envious of one person for one thing you think she has, while she is envious of you for what you think you don't even know you have. So that's how life is. Now, be ambitious yet liberal. You need to be ambitious, try to strive and get better, strive for excellence, but be liberal. If you don't get it at this point, move on to something else. If you don't get that particular thing done, at least you learned one way of doing it, not doing it wrong. Yeah. So be ambitious but be liberal. Also, ensure that you celebrate other success, but do not be envious, because envy also brings you in that state of I can't do it, I'm useless, I'm worthless, and then the person keeps moving into depression and possibly into suicide. Now, give yourself a break. Don't always beat yourself up if you're unable to achieve an A, maybe at a stipulated time. You just keep learning and trying to get better. That will help you to, keep your head above the clouds and focus. Because the more you keep hitting yourself or killing yourself about what you did not do right, you don't even tend to move forward and look at the brighter picture ahead of you. Also, never let sadness sink you so deep that you start to think of ending your life. Now, I know when it comes to maybe loss of a loved one, lots of a business venture you've invested so much in, lots of your prized possession, it's I know that feeling of sadness, but it's important for you to just let go. After a while, like they say, time heals all wounds. Just put yourself in the stage of grieving, and then breathe through it, and try to, if you want to cry, if you want to shout, just let it all out, so that your body can start to heal from the wound or from the sadness, and then you can try to find a way to get better out of that sadness. I really sympathize with those who maybe lost a loved one and they're sad because of that. But it's important for you to realize that what do you think such a person, that person who died, would want for you? To continue with this state of sadness and loneliness? No. Of the truth, the person wants you to bounce back up and get your life back. So think about such and forge ahead. Also, you may be envious of your neighbor, but your neighbor might be envious of you also. Now, soon it will soon be your own turn at the center stage. So why don't you, while you're waiting for that, keep getting better, keep striving, doing courses, keep getting yourself prepared for the center stage, because when it calls, you definitely must answer. And life is for the living, and when there is life, there is hope. And I think with this, we can find a way to deal with depression around and amongst us. I know it's hard, but you just need to snap out of it, because the deeper the depression hits you into, the more the thoughts of suicide that comes in. Please let us see light at the end of the tunnel. It definitely will get better if only we wait and strive to do so. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Nursing with Abby. Till I see you in my next episode, please stay safe, be good, put a smile on somebody's face, and always learn to smile. It's so cheap and helpful. Thank you so much. Till I see you in my next episode. Bye for now.